What's up, everyone? Welcome back. If you're new here, thank you so much for watching. My name's Ben. I like talking about movies. I like talking about TV. I kind of work in the industry a little bit, and so I have a little bit of perspective on it, which I think makes me a little unique. I don't know. But I also really like talking about the business side of things, and I really enjoy talking about the business side of the entertainment industry. And that's why I'm making this video right now, specifically to talk about the whole Skydance and Paramount merger. So Skydance just finally came to an agreement with Paramount, and they've decided to merge companies. This is the third time overall that they're trying this. The first time didn't go well. The second time they apparently made an agreement, but then that fell through. And now this time they have another agreement. We'll see if that goes through though. And I think this is kind of the best case scenario. I'm not really a big fan of mergers in general. They typically result in a lot of job loss. They typically result in less movies and film being made. I mean, like, look at Disney and Fox. Like, yeah, it's cool that we have X-Men under the roof now, I guess. But, you know, like a lot of people lost their jobs. It was a huge bloodbath when that happened. And they're still just making less movies overall. There's not that many Fox movies that are coming out anymore. But for the reason I think this might be a little different is Skydance is much smaller. They're not like a full-blown studio like Paramount is. And so when they merge, there's going to be a lot less, like job overlap and redundancies. At least I hope so. We'll find out. One of the reasons why I'm kind of okay with this is I really don't like the current leadership at Paramount right now. I really have a lot of problems with them altogether. For the past 10 years now, their CEO, Bob Bakish, was just terrible. He was the worst CEO, one of the worst CEOs to ever touch entertainment. He did such a bad job. Oh my God, so bad. But even the new leadership right now is really not much better right now. Currently, they have three CEOs, three, all doing one job. Three CEOs doing one job. So these three CEOs, they had a town hall that was before the merger, and they talked a lot about how they were going to be eliminating jobs and they're looking for job redundancies. They had three CEOs, three people doing one job, saying that they need to start eliminating jobs because there are too many redundant. Like, let me say that again. Three CEOs said this. Three CEOs, three people doing the exact same job. The audacity of these executives. Like, how do they not know how dumb they sound right now? Like, are they fucking stupid? Like, I'm sorry, but like, you have to be dumb as nails to fucking say that and not understand just how stupid you sound when it takes three people to do one job. Co-CEOs should not be a thing. Anyways, I hope that whole executive team kind of gets wiped. I'm not one to really want job loss, but you know, executives, they're always going to be fine. They'll find jobs elsewhere. But mm, everywhere you look in that company, there's kind of like issues at hand. The film studio itself does okay every now and then. They have some really good movies every now and then. You know, they have Top Gun, they have Mission Impossible, Transformers used to make money, now it doesn't. But they do have a lot of misfires. They don't make a lot of money. They're consistently kind of ranked the worst studio box office wise every single year. But even Paramount's brands and channels, they are just kind of shells of what they used to be. Like, there's been nothing going on in there, and they've been ruining themselves from the inside out. Look at Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon used to be a channel with a ton of shows, both live action and animated. And now if you look at it, it's 100% just SpongeBob all the time. Maybe a little bit of the Loud House in there, but it's mostly just SpongeBob over and over and over again. They're kind of just relying on things that they knew worked in the past, and they're still kind of working today, but they're not really making anything new, and that's kind of a symbol for how the entire company runs. Or MTV. MTV used to have some cool stuff. Like, I'm not going to talk about music because that's like so far in the past, but they did have a scripted content wing. They used to make shows in 2010. They had like The Hard Times of RJ Berger. They had some college humor shows. Bo Burnham had a show on there as well called Zach Stone is Going to Be Famous, and that only lasted one season and then it was canceled. And like they did have a Skins remake as well, but let's not talk about that. But even Teen Wolf did okay as well, and they kind of gave up on that whole wing in about 5 years, and you're not going to be able to build anything in 5 years, and they just kind of gave up, and now all they do is play ridiculousness on a loop. Ridiculousness is MTV SpongeBob. That is all there is on that channel. Like, yeah, it was cheap to make, but a little too cheap. We found out earlier this year that the ridiculousness writers weren't even getting paid well, and they had to go on strike just to get actual money. They're literally running MTV, and they had to strike just in order to get paid a living wage. Like, what the fuck are they doing? And Comedy Central, that was the biggest flop in my opinion. Like that was a dynasty to me. Like they had so many good shows and now they're just nothing. Like even back in the day, they had Chappelle's Show, they had South Park. And then in 2010s, they really started their content up. They had Workaholics, they had Key and Peele, they had Broad City, like really good shows, really good stars too, with a lot of appeal. And all those shows just went away. All those stars went away. Like Jordan Peele could have made a movie at Paramount and they didn't. Any of the Workaholics guys could have made shows or any of their networks and they didn't. Abby Jacobson and Alana Grazer could have made shows or movies at Paramount. Like they just let all that talent go away, and now all Comedy Central is just like they play The Office 24/7. Like it's not even one of their shows. And don't even get me started on Paramount Plus. Like that app is trash. It is the worst app to ever come out of all the streaming apps. I remember getting it its like first week and I couldn't even search for anything. It was so bad. They clearly invested nothing into it. And like what makes it worse too is the CBS All Access app, the one that they like kind of combined. That app worked fine. It did okay. I don't understand how that whole merger into Paramount Plus did so bad. But that app also had some good shows too, but they just never marketed any of them. Like, obviously they had some of the Star Trek, but I'm not a huge fan of that, so I'm not going to talk about it. But they had one of my favorite comedy shows to come out in the last 10 years. It was this show called Players. It was made by the people who did American Vandal, and it was about a League of Legends team trying to, make the League of Legends Cup or whatever. But it was shot like a sports documentary. It was a lot of fun. It was very self-aware, and no one heard of it. I barely heard of it. Like they do make some good stuff, but they just don't spend marketing money at all. Like you have to spend money to make money. Like that's like the most simple rule in business, and they just don't think they have to do that. It's so dumb. And just mismanaging it in general. Like remember when Paramount Plus with Showtime came out? Like first off, who the fuck came up with that name? Like an intern could have made a better name than that. What was Showtime adding to that in general? Like what Showtime shows were coming out? All they really had were Yellow Jackets. Nothing about Showtime makes people want to spend even more money. That is like a dying network. Like, I don't understand what they were thinking when they came up with that even more premier tier than what was Paramount Plus. It was so dumb. It's like they have all this cool shit and they just don't want to pay money. And like, yes, this industry is changing and there's a lot of pivot to streaming, but even like other cable channels are doing okay. FX is a cable channel and they're turning more into a production wing, but they're still making stuff. They had season 5 of Fargo come out. They had The Bear, which has been incredibly successful for them. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is still going on strong. Then you have, AMC. AMC is still, milking The Walking Dead, but they also had Better Call Saul as well. Like, they do it. Even USA is making like a new Suits or something. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of that show. But like it is possible as a cable channel to make money in this streaming era, and they just don't want to spend the money. Like they stopped making Comedy Central shows. They stopped making Nickelodeon shows. They stopped making MTV shows. And now they're like wondering where their audience went. Like you're not providing any reason for them to stay. Of course they're going to go away. And where they're going? Not Paramount Plus, that's for sure. So that's why I'm hoping this literal billionaire wants to spend some money and wants to actually make some cool stuff and provide new movies, provide new TV shows, provide new jobs for people. I really hope that they do it well because what they've been doing these past 10 years has not been good at all. That's all I got. Thank you so much. If you made it this far, thank you. Please like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. Thanks.